Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it.
They've always seen me as the extra chair at the table, useful when needed, but mostly in the way. It was a Thursday morning when I received the group message. Family dinner for Dad's birthday, 7 p.m. sharp. Lloyd's bringing Selena. Let's keep it warm and civil. I scrolled through the chat. My name hadn't even been tagged. 30 minutes later, a private message from my mother flashed on the screen. Annabelle, darling, maybe sit this one out. With Lloyd and Selena coming, things might feel awkward. Awkward. That word burrowed into my chest like a rusted hook. Not unfair, not wrong. Just awkward. I sat there at my desk, surrounded by the quiet hum of the lab's cold blue glow, nanobot schematics floating in holographic light above me. I was building solutions that could reverse cancer cell mutations. My mother thought I'd bring awkwardness to the table. Lloyd, my older brother, the prodigy turned financial advisor, had always stolen the spotlight like it owed him rent. When he got his MBA, we had a champagne brunch. When I launched the nanotech startup that got featured in Forbes, I got a thumbs up emoji and radio silence. Is it the money again? I asked out loud, staring at the screen. My voice cracked, even in solitude. My assistant, Becca, poked her head in. Everything okay? Fine, I said, swallowing the taste of betrayal. Actually, can you run a freeze on all direct auto payments to the Hartley residence, utilities, mortgage support, my niece Claire's tuition fund? Everything. Becca blinked. Wait, your family? Are you sure? Yes, I nodded. They can handle a little awkwardness. That night, I didn't go home. I stayed late in the lab, watching microcells rebuild tissue in a rodent's heart valve. Life-saving work. Quiet, brilliant, invisible work. The next morning, the storm came. Missed calls. Desperate texts. Why is the power out? Internet's down. Lloyd's presentation. Annabelle, what did you do? I didn't reply. Instead, I glanced at my employee transfer sheet. Selena Whitmore. Application pending. Assigned department, Research Division. Manager, A. Hartley. Oh, this was going to get interesting. The house I used to call home was drowning in darkness, and it had nothing to do with the blackout. I watched the security footage from my office computer, my parents fumbling with flashlights, my niece Claire wrapped in a blanket whining about her dead phone, and Lloyd pacing the hallway, holding a laptop he couldn't connect. No one thought to ask where the money had gone. They only wanted to know why the lights weren't on. A knock on my door broke the quiet. Annabelle. Becca peeked in again, holding her tablet. The system just flagged a transfer request from a Selena Whitmore. It's marked urgent. My eyes narrowed. Approve it. Becca raised a brow. You sure? I nodded. Oh yes. Let's give her the tour tomorrow. When she left, I leaned back and stared at my dark reflection in the monitor. My family wasn't calling to ask if I was okay. They weren't curious about how I'd been or what I was working on. No. They just wanted their lives to keep humming along with me, funding it in the background, like a silent investor in their happiness. The phone buzzed again. This time it was Claire. Claire, are you seriously not answering? Your mom says Dad is fuming. Lloyd had to go back to the office just to upload his slides. I typed, paused, deleted it. I didn't owe them a reply. They hadn't noticed when I ate alone at the edge of the table, or when I paid off the second mortgage, or when I gifted them internet fast enough to power a NASA show. They noticed now, though. They noticed silence. The next evening, I watched from the upper mezzanine as Selena stepped into the lab. She was dressed like she'd walked out of a glossy magazine, all cream and gold, oblivious to the coming storm. When I stepped forward to greet her, her smile froze. You're Annabelle Hartley. I smiled. Dr. Hartley. But you can call me Annabelle. She blinked. You're Lloyd's sister. And your new boss. I offered my hand. Welcome aboard. Selena sat across from me in the glass meeting room, her posture impeccable but her eyes flickering with confusion. No fear. She clutched a leather-bound planner like a lifeline. I didn't realize you were that Annabelle, she murmured, her voice more fragile than I expected. Lloyd never mentioned. Of course he didn't. I folded my hands on the table. I imagine he told you I was some app developer or freelancer, something vague enough to forget. She didn't reply. She didn't need to. The silence between us echoed with old dinners where Lloyd recited achievements while I quietly picked at dry chicken. I don't have time for grudges, I continued calmly. But I do value accountability. So tell me, why do you want to work here? Selena blinked rapidly. Because I believe in the mission. And because I'm good at what I do. I can prove that to you. I tilted my head. You'll have to. Unlike my family, we don't hand out praise for existing. Her lips tightened, but she nodded. After she left, I stayed seated, staring at the storm clouds gathering outside the window. The city lights blinked like nervous eyes waiting for the thunder. Just then, my phone buzzed again. Dad. Annabelle. This is ridiculous. Call me. Your mother's having chest pains. I stared at the message, numb. Last year, I paid for her cardiology screening. Nothing was wrong. It was emotional blackmail disguised as love. No more. I opened my calendar and added a new task. Revoke family access to medical benefits. The power had shifted. They just hadn't realized it yet. By Friday, whispers had started fluttering through the corridors of Aurelis Labs like moths drawn to a flame. Is that her? Someone murmured as Selena passed the glass atrium, shoulders squared but knuckles white around her tablet. News spreads fast in biotech. Faster when nepotism is suspected and the boss's surname is a secret everyone failed to Google. I watched from my office, arms crossed. Selena was cracking. She had submitted a report riddled with sloppy conclusions, unlike her polished resume, which had practically glowed. I summoned her to my office that afternoon. Selena, I said, tapping the document, you cited outdated trial data here, and you misquoted the enzyme reaction threshold in your conclusions. This isn't a beginner's mistake, it's carelessness. Her lips parted, stunned. I was distracted this week. It won't happen again. I don't allow distractions, I said coolly. Your last name doesn't exempt you from scrutiny. For the first time, her mask slipped. Is this about Lloyd? I leaned forward. This is about standards. You're the one who came here with a last name you hoped would smooth the way. That ends here. Silence. She stood abruptly. You know, your parents still talk about him like he walks on water. I smiled, faintly. Then I hope they can swim. Because I'm done saving anyone. That night, Lloyd called. I heard Selena had a rough week, he said, voice clipped. I hope you're not making this personal. Personal? I said, standing at my window, watching the city flicker in the dark. It became personal when you all decided I didn't count. Annabelle, come on. You're being. I hung up. I had made peace with being a black sheep. What they didn't know was that black sheep bite back. And this one had just bared her teeth. The letter came 2 weeks later, handwritten, smudge ink, my mother's cursive, careful, as though each word might fracture beneath the weight of guilt. We didn't realize what you'd become, Annabelle. We didn't see you. Maybe we didn't want to. It didn't sting, not anymore. I was at the rooftop of the Aurelis headquarters, overlooking the skyline, my tablet still lit with the latest funding milestone. Our vaccine trial had crossed phase A with staggering success. $1 billion success. And not one of them knew until it hit the news. Lloyd called that night. You didn't tell us. About the breakthrough. About any of this. You weren't listening, I replied, watching a plane blink across the evening sky. You never were. I was wrong, he said. His voice was softer than I remembered. We all were. There was a pause. I know, I said, and then gently, but I stopped waiting for your approval a long time ago. I ended the call. No fury, no tears, just silence. The kind of silence that tastes like peace. They had spent years painting me as the shadow. But in the end, I was the one holding the light, and I wasn't giving it back.
Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.